my phone someplace safe.
It's okay, I'm just kidding, Mark.
Maybe it's really safe. You know what time it is? 8. I'd like to call this meeting to order, 7:03 on Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. And begin by acknowledging that the Board of Education acknowledges that we are on the traditional territories of the Comox First Nation, and we would like to thank them for the privilege of living on their land and the gift of working with their children. And welcome, Gaila Kesla, to everyone that is here tonight at the meeting of the Board of Education of Comox Valley Schools. Just want to share that we're going to have 2 trustees attending virtually tonight. We're just waiting for the other trustee to sign on. We're going to have Trustee Aldinger and Trustee Leslie attending virtually. And welcome virtually, Shannon. We can see you, and can you hear us? Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. I'm just looking for a mover to adopt the agenda.
Sure. Board of Education of School District 71 Comox Valley adopt the October 28, 2025 regular board meeting agenda as presented.
Thank you. Second. Seconded by Trustee McConnell-Keene. All those in favor? That's carried. Great, thank you. And then next, the adoption of the board meeting minutes.
Move that the Board of Education of School District Number 71, Comox Valley, adopt the September 23rd, 2025 regular board meeting minutes as presented.
And seconded by Vice Chair Howe. Seeing no hands for discussion, all those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Next, we have record of in-camera meeting minutes, September 23rd, 2025, regular in-camera meeting, and October 7th, 2025, closed committee of the whole meeting. I just want to note that for the October 7th meeting on page 17, the meeting ended at 6:03, not 6:55, just to update that in our meeting package. And we have no presentations or delegations this evening. And next is the board chairperson report. There's one item that I'd like to just share publicly in the meeting tonight, and just acknowledge and honor Ninaloxi Annie Joseph, who passed, I think, the day after our last board meeting, and just share some of the stories that I'd heard about Annie Joseph, that her love of children, her generosity in sharing her teachings, and her enduring presence within our schools were true gifts that will be cherished and honored for years to come. So I just wanted to acknowledge the work that she did and acknowledge the loss of her passing. And with that, the rest of the report is there for people's reading pleasure at another date. And I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Yeah, great, thanks. Just as I was reflecting, I think most of us were here gathered in August with the sunshine of August. We were here in September with the sunset, and we're here on a blustery, stormy, very dark October, and just appreciate the passing of seasons with our partners and with this team. And as we gather together here in October, I do note that even in the dark days of October in the fall, that I continue to see the energy, commitment, and collaboration that occurs across our schools. Each week we see students, staff, and community partners joining together to create meaningful opportunities for students that deeply connect to our district values. This morning I had the opportunity, yes, in the wind and pouring rain, to witness in the Rotary Bowl more than 1,400 students and staff that gathered together in a giant circle where students drummed and sang in the center. It was a student-led initiative by a grade 11 student at Vanier named Kenzie, and it brought the whole school together in a powerful act of reflection and unity. It was fitting, as in reflection, the rain and the wind, but also, and there was a sadness, and then there was also a hope and a tremendous sense of hope when we see students leading and bringing a whole school community together in just a few moments of reflection. The students that drummed were part of the English First Peoples 12 class, and the student Kenzie sang in the center of the field with 1,400 people gathered around her. It was very, very powerful, and it's just a reminder of some of the profound young people that we have who are deeply committed to the work of truth and reconciliation, and how our young people can inspire our schools and communities. And it was just such an act of heart. It was just a beautiful thing to be present to witness. I think my feet are still not dry, but other than that, an amazing opportunity. We had another really neat highlight this month with the Women in Exploring Trades event that was hosted at Glacier View. This event invites students in grades 9 to 12 to discover the wide range of skilled trades through hands-on activity, mentorship, and community connections. Fields that were explored included things like fields of automotive, carpentry, baking, mechanics, forestry, plumbing, electrical, metalwork, and firefighting. They had the chance to connect and meet with women who are currently working in those industries, along with representatives from North Island College, Skilled Trade BC, and several local businesses. I know that this is near and dear to some people in the room around some safety drills that have been occurring over the last few weeks and over the next few weeks with First Student, where our district is conducting emergency bus evacuation drills across all of our busing schools. So these drills help ensure that students and drivers are prepared should an emergency event occur. And a lot of these drills have been occurring in weather like today, so really have appreciated the dedication of our First Student team and drivers who have remained calm and provided nice, calm, safe instruction in the pouring rain. Many of our schools this month have also been participating in Walk for Wenjack events. At Cumberland Community School, as an example, students and staff walked the historic Cumberland Railway Trail, using that experience to reflect on the story of Chanie Wenjack and the broader history of residential schools in Canada. Through classroom discussions, our project storytelling students have been exploring themes of empathy, justice, and healing. These walks serve as a culmination of that learning and is a community-based act of remembrance and reconciliation. So I want to thank our educators who help create these special experiences for our students. And finally tonight, I'd like to extend a heartfelt congratulations to Christine van Holderbeek, a teacher at Quinish Elementary, who has recently been honored with a Prime Minister's Award for Teaching Excellence. Christine is one of just 70 educators nationwide to receive this recognition. Her classroom is described as a celebration of difference, where she teaches through empathy and adaptability, ensuring every child finds their own path to success. Her work exemplifies the care, creativity, and dedication that defines so many of educators here in the Comox Valley. So congratulations to Christine. And then finally, these moments from safety drills to cultural learning, career exploration, and national recognition represents a small piece of the larger story of our district, one grounded in connection, care, and continuous learning. So thank you to everyone who continues to bring our district values to life every day.
Thank you. And Susan, just doing a sound check to see if you can hear us all right.
Yes, I can. I'm in.
Perfect. Thank you. Welcome. All right. So moving on to our section 9 of our agenda, standing committee reports, and our next open committee of the whole meeting is January the 13th, 2026, and the topic will be school growth plans. And there was no open committee of the whole board or board report tonight to present. Moving on next to our ad hoc policy committee board report. Just wondering, Trustee McConnell-Keen, if there's anything you'd like to share about the board report that's in our package?
Sure. Pages 19 to 21, our committee met on the 21st, and we met with Scott Stinson and with the superintendent to discuss the plans forward as far as policy review and also a similar process for administrative procedure review. The committee passed or appreciated as well the criteria that was presented in the proposal by Scott of Engage Ed Consulting, and he will be coming back to us on, well, prior to November 12th to review a first sample of what that review may look like. And then we'll be planning how we go forward in the more fulsome process. But yeah, I think we felt strongly about the criteria and that it represented a fulsome dive deep into each policy and then procedure forward as well. I think that was all I was going to share tonight. We look forward to continuing the work with his support.
Thank you. Next is the Gender-Based Violence Committee Board Report. Trustee Aldinger, is there anything you'd like to share about your report tonight?
Just very briefly, it's found at pages 22 to 23 of the agenda package. Since our last regular board meeting at the end of September, the committees met twice, once late in September, once early in October, to review the evolving draft outline and report. And we will continue to await some direction from our board as to when will make sense to provide a more to provide the report itself at a meeting like this. That's it. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Next is our Indigenous Education Council Board Report. We're juggling just a little bit with the timing of when our IEC is meeting and then when we need to get information in on time for our board meetings. I can share that myself and Trustee Maysack. So Trustee Leslie attended, sorry, wasn't Trustee Maysack. Just wondering, Trustee Leslie, is there anything you'd like to share about the IEC meeting that we attended together?
No, I think that the next meeting should prove to have a quite a fulsome report, but I think it went really well, and kudos to the council.
Agreed. It was held at Aspen Park Elementary, which was nice to have it being held in one of our schools. And the next IUC meeting is November 7th from 12:30 until 3. And I'm looking to a trustee to receive all the committee reports.
The Board of Education of School District Number 71, Comox Valley, receive all committee board reports as presented.
Thank you. That was moved by Trustee McConnell-Keen and seconded by Vice Chair Howe. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. Next in our agenda package, pages 24 and 25 are our draft proposed board committee and trustee liaison, I don't even want to call them liaison seats. I'm just opening this up to see if there's any trustees that have any comments or questions. Wasn't a lot of change this year. And seeing no hands raised, looking for a trustee to approve this.
That the Board of Education of School District Number 71, Comox Valley, approve the 2025-26 Board Committee and Liaisons positions as presented.
Thank you, Vice Chair Howe, seconded by Trustee McConnell-Keen. All those in favor? Thank you. Next, we're moving on to the 2025-2026 instructional calendar amendment. Did I forget something? Am I okay? All right.
So I will speak to that briefing note. Associate Superintendent Dixon has been in Vancouver for a Safe Schools Conference and was hoping to be here tonight, but has been delayed due to the weather with some canceled travel plans. So I wanted just to note that in June, the ministry confirmed, or July actually, the ministry confirmed an expectation to have one day dedicated to Indigenous learning in the 25-26 school calendar. In order to add that day, there is a proposed amendment to the 25-26 calendar, which would be to add a professional development day to May 15th. There was a calendar committee meeting that met to discuss the implications and ramifications. One of the expectations whenever an amendment is made to the calendar is that it's posted to the website for public feedback prior to the board either approving the amendment or not. So we will be collecting feedback. We wanted to present this to information for the board in that we would like to continue to move forward with the process to potentially include the May 15th day into this school calendar.
Trustee King?
So just before I make the motion is that this is a result of the amendment to the School Act, where now the Ministry of Education under the School Act has required every single district in the province to have one designated day. And there was a rationale for having it in spring rather than having in the wintertime because they wanted some outdoor learning. And they felt, I believe, that in spring, late spring, they'll have the opportunity to go outside rather than January, February. Sometimes we have weather like this or snow. So that's kind of looking at the date to some historic background. It's that we are required by the School Act to have one extra day now. And the day in May was looked at based on some outdoor learning and some participation by that weather-wise, so. And then I'm going to make the motion that we move forward on this one.
Right, is it, so,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I could have a question as well.
so the last, whatever it is, like 3 school years, or whatever, it was in the School Act that that one of them was to be an Indigenous Day, that they had suggested that, and then it didn't cover this year, and so now they've said, they've come back and it's going to continue. Is that
That's
sort of what's happened?
Yes.
Okay.
It was recommended, not mandated.
Did I say mandated?
It's mandated now. Before it was recommended, now it's mandated under the School Act. We are required to have one day. Am I correct on that,
I
Superintendent?
think it was mandated prior. It just that it's been extended and it was not extended until July.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying.
And so my question is, it also indicated in when they decreed this at the beginning of July, non-instructional days can have parents and students sometimes attending. And is it just early stages to know if whatever events may take place on that date, if it's approved, could include parents and students, or is that, am I getting a little ahead of myself?
Yeah, we haven't engaged further in that planning, although it looks like Associate Superintendent Heslop is excited to have share something. So go ahead, Joe.
It's perked up. I feel that this would be an excellent opportunity for all humans to learn on that day. So anyone who wants to be a part of that, should that day occur, more the merrier.
Trustee Keating, would you like to?
The recommended motion is that the Board of Education of School District Number 71, Comox Valley. My brain just lost it here, sorry. Support moving forward with the process to amend the school district calendar by designating May 15th, 2026 as a non-instructional day of Indigenous focused learning.
Seconded by Vice Chair Howe. Shannon, did you have a question or were you just all in favor? Yeah. Okay.
Just offering to second.
Oh, wonderful. You were seconding. Okay. All right. Seeing no hands for questions, all those in favor? I have to keep remembering to turn left to look at the trustees that,
A lot of thumbs ups happening.
yeah, I know. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for transferring that as well. Great. Next, under information items, under learning services, strategic plan update, operational plans.
Yeah, thanks. I won't spend a great deal of time. I know that Josh is going to put up on the screen, he's going to just track how the public and others can access our school growth plans. I wanted to just share briefly today, because we do have a robust opportunity on January the 13th to have a more fulsome conversation about school growth plans, but I just wanted to make sure that people knew where they were. I know many in this room are familiar that the strategic plan is built on a shared vision of compassionate, connected, and personalized learning for all. This vision can become a reality when it's lived out in schools, which is where our school growth plans help bridge between vision and action. A focused school growth plan helps align the work of classrooms and schools with the district's strategic goals, so they can encourage coherence. School goals reflect the strategic plan, ensuring that efforts from the classroom to the boardroom are connected. It helps build coherence, collaboration, and collective accountability. It helps monitor collective impact by focusing on measurable outcomes aligned with the strategic plan design principles. And it helps to support professional learning alignment. And so they are intentionally thin plans so that they're understandable. And there's going to be other components that are, this is the front face of it, then there's the action plan behind it that has more specifics. So I just wanted to share that that's where they're located. Every school has a school growth plan on the website and are available for looking at, and certainly more in-depth conversation at our open committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you. Any questions from trustees? Looks like we've got some reading too. All right. Next is business services, major capital project updates from our Director of Operations, Molly Proudfoot.
Everyone, so on page 30 of the agenda package is kind of the start of a brief update on all of the major capital expansion and childcare projects underway right now. So that includes Aspen Park Elementary Prefab Addition, Cumberland Community Elementary Addition, and JP Venue Replacement Childcare. So it's just point form, some nice visuals so we can actually see what stuff is happening, which is nice. They're not just holes in the ground now. We're starting to see structures get erected, so it's an exciting time. Happy to answer any questions.
I have one question. It's about Aspen Park. I think initially, if my memory serves, we were hoping that it might be finished partway through the fall. Are those, or whatever bumps occurred, do you feel more confident at this point that it will be late winter?
Yeah, predominantly what delayed us was permitting, so that's kind of behind us. And we have to update the ministry monthly. So we've been providing them updates on when we expect the completion date to come to fruition. So we feel pretty confident that we're kind of past that stage of the project, and the late winter in 2026 is what we're striving for.
Need to see if there's any hands. I don't see any further questions. Thank you very much. I'm just looking for a trustee to recommendation.
That the Board of Education, School District Number 71, Comox Valley, received the major capital projects update dated October 28, 2025 as presented.
Seconded by trustee McConnell-Keen. All those in favor, please indicate. Thank you. Carried. And we now have our first quarter financials, and our Director of Finance, Candace Hilton, or maybe not. It's our Assistant Secretary Treasurer, Jennifer Nelson.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is the quarter one financial update. It's found on pages 34 through 36 of the agenda. So this covers, it's a high-level update on the revenues and expenses to September 30th. So it includes the first 3 months of the year, which represents 25% of the year. However, it should be noted that it's really only 1 month for instruction. So that's why you'll notice some of the expenses around teachers, educational assistants, substitutes, and transportation appear to be below, but they are in line with where we would expect them to be at this point in the year. These expenses and revenues are compared to our annual budget that was adopted in June 30th. And so once we have the actual enrollment numbers updated and we have the calculated grant from the ministry in December, we'll be able to prepare the amended budget at future quarterly updates for you to compare and provide projections. So really high level, and just to note, any surplus or deficit that you'll see on this report at this point in time is really just a timing issue because we are so soon in the year. So with that, I'll leave it and open it up for any questions.
Thank you. I do not see any hands. So we'll look to the recommended motion on our agenda sheet. Trustee McConnell-Keen.
The Board of Education for School District number 71 received the Q1 financial report dated October 28th, 2025 as presented. Sorry.
And seconded by Vice Chair Howe. And all those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And next we have our annual childcare operating report with our District Principal of Early Learning, Peter Sinskeen.
So I would like to introduce and acknowledge our District Principal of Early Learning and Childcare. And just very appreciative on behalf of the district for all of the work that she continues to do around early learning initiatives and working with childcare providers and early years community partners. Lisa has a few highlights to share with you and can answer any questions that you have about the briefing note.
Thank you. My briefing notes are on page 37 to 39 in the agenda, and I'm just going to highlight two specific areas, and one is under number 1, the kindergarten transitions. This year we moved to a shorter transition time for our K students to really help support our parents who are working and the difficulty finding childcare during that time. I think I'm just collecting the data now, but I've heard lots of success stories. And that is due to a variety of things that the schools are implementing to help support that transition for families. So last year, well, every year we've always had the Welcome to K events, but schools are adding more and more events for parents to come to throughout the year, starting in the fall, so that they are feeling comfortable coming into the schools and feeling at ease and knowing where their children are going. Arden has really led the strengthening transitions in the district, and they have done multiple events last year, including their Welcome to K. They did an amazing parent evening, so it was the first time that they had tried that. And the night before Welcome to K, they had parents come in so that they could ask questions and get to know each other and know the teachers. They started in a circle and were asked to share an experience from kindergarten. And that really helped build relationships as parents found out that they went to the same schools as each other, they lived in the same towns, and the teachers, and Andrew was there also, were, I don't want to say surprised, but I think surprised at what that small event did to build the relationships. And then the parents were able to go home and say to the kids, I was at your school, I know who your teachers are. So they weren't as anxious bringing their kids into school the next day for the Welcome to K. They also did a scavenger hunt a few weeks later where parents and children were invited back into the school and had a scavenger hunt and were able to do a bus ride as the transportations. It was the first time buses were available to schools, so the kids and parents could do that together. I think the parents enjoyed it more than the students did, of getting back on a school bus and remembering what that was like. And through the strengthening transitions, we're always trying to reach out to all families, and for a variety of circumstances, it's difficult for some families to get to events. So they used some of that funding and made some videos that were sent out to families so that they could see the school, meet the teachers, and just another access point for families. So I'm really looking forward to watching that grow to all schools this year. And Arden was one of the 2 programs where they did not do gradual entry. So the kindergarten students started up on the first full day, and they said the transition went very smoothly due to all the front loading that they did with those families beforehand. The other piece that I'd like to highlight is the primary learning community program that's at Airport this year, a new K-3 play and play-based program. It is just amazing to go into that classroom and watch those learners. I'm very proud of the way that the program is embodying the district strategic plans design principles. The space looks different than most classrooms. The multi-age, watching a kindergarten engage with a grade 3 student is absolutely amazing. The deeper conversations that they're having, and just the joy and self-efficacy that the students have around their learning is just so amazing to see. So I invite you all to come and take a look at those children in their learning environment, and they're loving the 1 day a week in place. So every week on Fridays, they're out somewhere in the community learning, and it's been a huge success. So I'm really excited about watching that program grow. Thank you. Questions?
Trustee Keating?
I'm actually Trustee McKeon. She had her hand up before I did. So.
Okay, great. Trustee McConnell-Keane.
I was just curious if you, this isn't an internal question, just more of an advocacy question. If you hear of there being push to extend the play and place-based learning or the primary learning community to grow it beyond K-3, or if that's something that you hear people pushing for, or if it's too early right now to make
It's
that.
already being pushed.
It is.
And it's being pushed from, I've heard it from several parents already, and those are the parents that are in, their children are in grade 2 or grade 3,
Yeah.
going, what next? But I'm also hearing it from school principals as well, just wondering what kind of other opportunities there will be coming for intermediate students. So I think it is something that we are going to be looking at.
Great. Thank you.
So thank you. So my question's regarding the Strong Start program. And I know that it continues to grow and we have a lot of interest. So there's a couple of questions regarding that. Like with our ESL learners and having support for many of those young students that want to come, that may have that bit of a barrier. What are we doing as a district to support them, or are we doing that? And what are we doing to support those families that would like to have their students participate in Strong Start, but for some reasons aren't able to get there and feel maybe not quite comfortable coming into the school? So how is our district working with those students and families to get them into the program where it's such a valuable program for many of those early learners?
So there's a variety of ways. Carlene Steves at Courtney Elementary, along with Jemana at Qudish, work, depending on the needs at the time, work with healthy families. So that has really proven to be a huge success, where those Strong Start facilitators work in collaboration with healthy families, so who already have a relationship with some of these priority families, and they work together and build relationships at the same time with the Strong Start. And then we notice the transfer that those families then start to feel comfortable to attend a Strong Start. So we're really noticing that when we work in collaboration with healthy families. Also, Jumana Quinish and Carlene does it depending on the need, but Jumana regularly has a multicultural Strong Start. I think it's 2 days a week in the afternoons. So it's just for multicultural families. And she works with RAN in that program as well. So supporting those families and learners.
Great to hear. Thank you.
Looking at our trustees online. See any hands up? Go ahead. Would you like to? Oh, maybe we do see a hand up. Trustee Leslie, you have a question?
Sorry, I was looking for the other hand, so I just used my real one. I noticed in Pedagogy of Play, you had 12 educators, well, Associate Superintendent, PVP, lead teachers were trained by Sarah Aono from New Zealand in play, and that happened April 2025. Could you speak to a little bit more of that and what schools will be supporting and embracing this play-based learning?
So Sarah came, and what she trained us on was called the P-Plot. So it's a play-based learning observation tool. So it's really a self-reflection tool for teachers to do. And then those of us who are trained do coaching with those teachers to help move them forward in their pedagogy. So they choose a goal area, and then we mentor and coach them in their goals. And it's very much at the beginning stages with the training, but there's lots of interest in that from those educators to help support their teachers in their schools, which is the best way that that could happen. I am really seeing a shift, especially with the summer learning around Walker Learning. I feel we're really at a tipping point right now with more people embracing play as they see the huge benefits of it, of reaching curriculum and engaging students in their learning. So I know that I will also be running a primary inquiry group as well, starting in January, for teams from schools to come and attend. So that registration is happening right now, but I know there's lots of interest out at Royston Elementary. They're already working on some play-based learning. Cuban Park is working on some outdoor learning, as well as a variety of other teachers and in pockets, which is the first time I've seen it really come to life and really moving forward in an organic way by the teachers. So I'm really excited about that shift in the learning.
Thank you, and so am I. I'm thrilled. Thank you so much. Great work.
Who would like to move this?
I'll move them. Okay. Go ahead. Recommended motion that the Board of Education of School District number 71 receive the Early Learning and Childcare Annual Operating Report dated October 28, 25 as presented.
And seconded by Carol Keen. All those in favor, please indicate. Everybody's said yes, so I don't need to ask if anyone's opposed. Next, we have the Food Advisory Council Plan and Feeding Futures update by our Food Services Coordinator, Leah Cockerton.
So,
Or maybe not.
yes, that's okay. So you have two pieces in your package from Thea Cockerton, our Food Services Coordinator. The first being the annual report, and in there you'll see a backgrounder and highlights of what's been happening. I'd like to recognize all of Thea's hard work here. We can see lots of great things happening in the school district around food services, including growth around our universal lunch programs. In addition, what you'll see in there is I'd like to recognize and express gratitude to our district food advisory committee as well in accomplishing their mandate and supporting Thea in developing the plan that you see in there. So we have a district vision now around food services. and some guidance around how to move forward. And I think you'll see reflected in there so much of our district values and our strategic design principles. Thea is here to answer any questions if you have any about the reports before you.
See no hands raised. Pardon me? Okay, but go ahead, and then I'll make my comments after.
Okay, so thank you for the report. It was really quite comprehensive and it was really well documented. I have two questions on that one there, and one goes to the future upgrades at some of the elementary schools at Highland. And I'm wondering how the upgrades are coming along and whether those schools, facilities upgrades will be in place for the next implementation. I believe Valley View is scheduled for early next year pending upgrades. Queenish, Aspen, Highland are also in line for implementation, but I'm not sure if they need upgrades or not. And I know that has some impact to whether or not the food services can start. And at schools, I'm looking at Highland, where Highland compared to the other high schools is a little bit behind. And the students actually have mentioned that they feel a little bit left out for that. So I'm just wondering, in the process and the planning, are those schools on track to having those upgrades in place so those food programs can start as anticipated, or we're looking at a little bit more resources in supporting those schools?
They're all on track to start. Valley Views is having a big kitchen rebuild in the change room across the hall. So it needs plumbing and the appliances. So it's just a maintenance, just scheduling it in. So it'll be on track. Highland doesn't need facility upgrades at this point. We're just letting Isfeld's project run out and to work out some of the kinks, and then we'll go into Highland. And Aspen is waiting for their renovation. They need like their new classrooms, and then when they've moved out of some of their old classrooms, we will repurpose some of them. Thanks.
So I have a couple of points. It's wonderful to hear about the universal lunch programs and how they've evolved and how each school is a little different, configured different, students are different, and how each school is navigating that. I'm also really pleased to hear some of the stories I've heard of where many PACs have used lunch programs as a fundraising tool to provide money back to the schools for students, how those PACs are pivoting and finding other ways to do some of that work that they care so passionately about. I wanted to also reference the advisory committee and that, you know, I'm looking forward to what it does next, because the terms were set up where it is a fairly it's an ongoing group, and one of the mandates was to create a 5-year plan, and so looking forward to quite likely them not having to meet as often, but that they will be that they will perform that advisory function of bringing all of the groups together to not only learn about the implementation plans throughout the schools, but what might need to be revised as this goes through. And I will say, from the different ways that I've had reporting back, is I'm not sure how there's just one of you able to do this work. I know many hands make light work, but the creativity that again is involved with each school being so unique, each school community being so unique, this amazing way, as I've heard it explained, where parents sign up for the lunch, the list that comes to the team to build the lunches, it's such a silo. Nobody knows who paid what. And that is that amazing stigma-free opportunity for students to share a meal together without any stigma, and I just want to thank you for that. And the team. But through you to the team. Yeah, I just wanted to share that.
You are supporting it.
Go ahead. Sergey.
Just on that note, I did have one question for you. So some of the schools are doing that program where it's completely anonymous and some aren't. Are you finding that some of the schools that have this sort of newer system that you've implemented with the complete anonymity, are you finding like that you're getting sort of like a more fulsome amount of students being fed with that rather than the ones that have to sign up through the administration?
No, it's pretty similar. Isfeld is doing, like it's not an anonymous pay what you can. It's a set price and then the administration are subsidizing part of it. And about 15% are getting subsidized lunches. Huntledge is about a similar percentage, similar demographics. So yeah, I think it is similar. Some schools like Arden, it's way higher. It's like 50%. So I think it just depends on the families in that community and what they're contributing. I don't know that that's even a piece for the parents is having an impact, but we will aim to remove that at Isfeld as well.
Thanks. Look into the screen. Seeing if there's any, oh, Trustee Aldinger.
Yeah, thanks so much. I also have really appreciated reading this report and having sat in on the Food Advisory Committee all of last year. I can really attest to the fact that there's been such amazing work done. So thank you. I'm curious about the role of the advisory committee over the next year. I know we have set terms of reference, but where you anticipate seeing the focus of that committee for the next year.
I mean, we had an objective of developing the food plan, which we've met. So
it's a beautiful plan.
Thank you. So I guess I'm looking for direction on what a new objective would be, or what anybody else is looking for out of that committee.
Okay.
It's a great question. I think we may need to review the terms of reference to determine, because the terms of reference are actually quite prescribed in some ways, but then not in others. And it may need to come back to the board, perhaps the committee actually looking at the terms of reference as well, to see if they could bring their recommendation as well as the board reviewing it.
So I was going to make an observation before I move the motion. Yes. Just to say that I had the pleasure of hanging out with Jason Colby at Queenie one lunchtime. And I have to say that the ease of which students felt so comfortable coming up and helping themselves to an amazing array of healthy food there was just heartwarming to watch. I mean, the kids knew that they were safe. They came up there and they were able to ask for what they wanted, and there was no stigmatism. It was just a very open and friendly family type of atmosphere, and that goes to you and your group for supporting that, because when kids feel safe and going up and not asking for food, it was welcoming. And I would say that to me is one of the barriers that we had to break down. And I was really kind of like, I kept left in kind of tears, because I'm like, wow, these kids are just feeling so loved within their school community, and be able to have food, whatever they wanted, no stigma was involved, was really heartwarming. It was heartbreaking sometimes. It was great to watch. But I am going to make the motion that the Board of Education, number 71 Comox Valley, received the Food Advisory Council and Plan and Feeding Futures update dated October 28, 25 as presented.
Thank you. Trustee Clayton, seconded by, I'll go with Trustee Aldinger. Thank you. And seeing no further hands for comments, all those in favor? And any opposed? No, that's carried. Thank you. Moving on to revised administrative procedures. Is it our Director of Information Technology, Josh Porter, that's going to share tonight?
Yes,
I
it
keep
is.
getting it wrong. Okay.
Yes.
Over to you.
Okay, thank you. So just a couple of updates to a couple of the admin procedures. AP 145, use of personal digital devices. With the rapid change of personal devices these days, there is a need to update this AP on a frequent basis here and there. So we've improved the definition section as well as adding in, you may be aware of the idea of smart glasses now that have technology built into the frame glasses we wear. So that has been added to the definition of devices in this AP. And of course, those things are subject to compliance for all users across the organization as far as digital devices. The other update is just a minor one to AP 181, video surveillance. And this was just the addition of the portion where a parent advisory council is involved in the approval of any permanent video camera installation, including the relocation of said devices within a school. So that was a fairly minor add, but definitely was a needed one through the AP. Entertain any questions?
Thank you. Trustee McConnell-Keen.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to appreciate that it certainly was brought to light through consultation of the importance for consistency across learners and staff. And I appreciate that that is represented in the AP before us, and also the consistency of language that we're doing to remove stakeholders out of our documentation. So I appreciate both of those steps forward. That's all.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from trustees on either of these administrative procedures?
If I could just add one piece, just on page 68, we did make a commitment that we would, not knowing all of the history of PAC involvement with placement of cameras, that we would be asking all schools to advise their PACs where current camera locations are, and that will need to be signed off this fall. And then the updated form on page 69, which will be anytime there's an addition or move, but just wanting to make sure that that baseline is understood as we move forward.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Go ahead. That the Board of Education of School District 71 Comox Valley receive the revised administrative procedures for information.
Seconded by trustee McConnell-Keen. All those in favor? Any opposed? Moving on to Safe and Active School Program Update by our Director of Operations, Molly Prophet.
Yeah, so this is a Safe and Active Schools update. You know me, I love a good acronym, so I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't call this SAS. SADS, which doesn't have a good ring to it. But this is just updating the board and the public that on October 3rd, the City of Courtenay and Urban Systems hosted an open house at Nicole Puntledge Park Elementary. And the purpose of that open house was to provide an update on sort of the work that's been done so far, as well as gather some feedback for the 3 schools that are being piloted, elementary schools. So that's Valley View, Courtenay, and Puntledge. So we feel like it was a successful night. They broke out into groups based off of the school area. And the purpose was to just gather feedback from the public on what were some concerns and recommendations. It was nice that it wasn't just raising concerns, but also talking about some solutions. So in the package, it will also go through the look ahead for the fall into winter of what engagement will happen, which is walkabouts with the community and school to help inform those safe school plans and best route plans. So happy to answer any questions.
Caitlin?
So thank you. I just had a question from the parents at one of the schools I represent, and it's regarding the sites, visits, data collected, and walkabouts. And depending on what time of day that you attend that school in that parking lot, the traffic could be backed up for blocks, or it could be no one there. So they just wanted some assurance and understanding that the walkabouts and site visits will be staggered throughout the day, based on those rainy, wet days when every parent's dropping their students off, that 8:30 or 3 o'clock pickup time. And that will be in part of it, because you can go up there at 10 o'clock in the morning and there's very little traffic. Not much is needed, but on that one there. So that was just, that wasn't clear as to how those site walkabouts were doing it. Was it going to be a certain time of day, or is it going to be over different periods based on the ebb and flow of the students coming and going from school?
So the consultant has already reached out to the schools to arrange for a time of day that sort of suits that school to do a walkabout. So they have the ability to, recommend a time if they feel like that would be more important. And then I think the consultant that is engaged is also aware that there's going to be those peak times, those lull times, and those busy times. So I think we'll be covered.
Thank you. Well, Trustee McConnell-King.
This may be a question for the city, so I do apologize if it is. Just tell me not to ask it tonight. But my question is whether the Cycling Coalition is involved as a direct communicator in the process.
Yeah, so they were actually at the open house. Okay. Yeah, so they're very much engaged and wanting to be a part of the conversation, which is great.
Thank you.
Shannon.
Shannon?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the report. I had the pleasure of being at this Friday open house at Puntledge, and it was relatively well attended, and a lot of really great discussions that you've really captured in this report. I see a reference to walking school bus programs, and I've had a number of parents approach me about that that idea, that concept from a number of different elementary schools in the district. And one particular parent raised, or actually a couple of parents have raised the idea of grants being available to try and bring that type of idea to fruition. And I'm wondering if that is something that would fall to the district to be looking at, or the city of Courtenay as this process is moving along.
So one of the nice things about this is the process does identify existing grant opportunities, as well as the city of Courtenay is committed to exploring grant opportunities within the city itself. So that is something that has been brought up on that evening, and we'll continue to explore what those options look like.
So that's your question? It's hard to tell the body language. I think so. It's tricky. I'm out of practice with the virtual stuff. Thank you. I don't see any further questions from trustees. Would like to
The Board of Education of School District Number 71, Comox Valley, received the Safe and Active Schools Program update dated October 28th, 2025 as presented.
Seconder. Trustee Aldinger. Trying to give everybody a turn. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, under new business, just wanted to share, I took the opportunity to provide a brief update on an example of what happens at our Vancouver Island School Trustee Association meetings that we have twice a year. And I think sometimes it's hard to share what trustees really do in the many layers of our roles. And so this is just a snapshot of one of the opportunities that we have to gather together. And I do know I've learned a lot from my trustee colleagues on the island over the years from Vista, and wanted the opportunity to share that in our board meeting tonight.
Actually, I wanted you to hear that I really appreciated that you did this, because I think that we've had moments where we've been curious what is shared here, how it's shared here, what is shared in camera, what isn't, and I think that having a really simple snapshot of an example for when we are involved in sessions that help bolster the work of the board is important. So I was appreciative of a clear example of how we can. Sometimes I think we hesitate and don't always know how to. So that was helpful.
Well, that's good to know that you don't feel like I overstepped.
No, I thought it was great.
A little bit of stuff in the board chairperson report as well, a little bit of things that, that we've been doing as well. So I
thank you.
Then moving on to correspondence. Got to get to there. This is we had two pieces of correspondence, one going out and one coming in. And it is a letter that was written on behalf of the board to the Minister of Education and Childcare. And it's in your agenda packages tonight, and it's regarding our reiterating our request and support of a BC gender-based violence action plan.
So I'm sorry, I missed this earlier, but I'm just wondering, and I think it's probably, is that on the carbon copy, why BCSDA did not get a copy of the letter? I didn't see it as CC here, just because BCSDA and our president meets the minister on a fairly regular basis, and they do advocate for us at the provincial level. And I'm just wondering if somehow it was missed that they should have got a copy of this letter also. So when they're meeting with the Ministry of Education, the minister, then they would have some reference to go follow up with our motion that came through AGM. So I apologize. I was going to mention earlier. I just looking at it right now. So I'm thinking it's just an oversight. Any correspondence that we send to the minister should always be copied to BCSDA, because they meet with them regular, and they would also be our voice at the table advocating for things that we want.
I'll double check to see if maybe it just dropped off the format, and in fact, if they were copied or not. But I appreciate that feedback, because we can always provide it to them so that they know that we did it. Thank you for that. And then the second letter was just a response back from a letter that was sent that we participated in the summer regarding a request for increased seasonal policing. And so we've just provided that for information. And it is 8:06. And it's the 15-minute time period for public questions to the board. And I always start checking to see if there's anybody online so that we can make sure we read it and have opportunity for that. And seeing a shake of a head, I will move to the public who are attending our meeting tonight. Pardon me, Trustee Caton?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was actually really excited.
Oh, okay. And looking for hands, and I will go to one of our DPAC representatives.
Thank you. Question through the chair for Thea Cofferton. Could you please ballpark number the total amount of Comox Valley School students participating in the Universal School Program, please?
So through the chair. Yeah. And first I go to the superintendent to see if the superintendent knows the answer. And then he gets to decide.
Yeah, if you have the answer, that would be wonderful. If you could pass that on. Thank you.
So Miracle Beach is going to start in 2 weeks, I think. And then 44% of our students will have access to the universal program. And it'll go up to 65 with Aspen and Queeniche, and up to almost 80 with Highland and Vanier when we figure that one out. But 44 as of next week.
Follow-up question through the chair.
So you want numbers, not percentage? No, go ahead.
No, it's through the chair. Having been to various school food conferences in the past, I would like to, I guess my question is more of a wonder or curiosity, if we as a district are aware of like how significant that is in terms of like provincial numbers. And like,
It's
it
huge.
is.
I was at
So
a,
just your general feeling is my question. Are you, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think we could say, we know it's significant, but I think Thea would have the specifics of more direct comparisons, but I know it is an unusually high number in comparison to other districts.
it is a astronomically high. Most districts are not doing universal programs. They're doing targeted, so they're providing food for students who need it. But I was at a meeting in Nanaimo, and there's a big nonprofit called Nourish that are really involved in Port Alberni, Cowichan districts, and they deliver food ready to go, but it's delivered to kids in their class and just the students who need it. So there's 5 in this class, 4 in this class, and it's very stigmatized as to who's getting free food. And that's the model that most districts in the province are following. So I know of one other that is piloting something like ours, but it's pretty unique.
Thank you.
Thank you for the 2 questions. Just wondering if there's anybody else who's in attendance who would like to speak. And from the CDTA?
Sean Holland, President of the Comox District Teachers Association. Through your chair, I have a couple of questions, if I may, about the changes to Administrative Procedure 145, use of personal digital devices. My first question, through your chair, I see that while there were some changes, there was no change to the procedures around as permitted by the teacher, that use of learning device, use of devices will be permitted by the teacher to enhance digital literacy and support instructional goals. I was wondering if there was any consideration to examining that procedure or changing it based off the information that the CDTA provided to the district regarding the issues over enforcement that teachers have been experiencing over the last year.
Josh, or do you go ahead?
Okay. Yes, I think this is a living, breathing thing that we definitely have the information on. Right now, it was to get the definition section was actually missing from the AP, so we actually had to add that in and took that as the opportunity to add it. There is ongoing consultation throughout the year with schools and other groups as far as how the personal digital device process is going, because obviously there's provincial mandate on that as well. So we will be taking that information into consideration this fall as well to look at how effectively use the AP.
Another question on procedure. I see that one of the changes made was the addition of staff to this procedure. So my question, Chair, through you, is was there a concern identified with staff using devices or being unprofessional? Or was there, what was the other reason for adding this to a procedure to address a ministry, as just stated, a ministerial order for student use of devices?
If you have the answer?
Yeah, I think ultimately all of our use of technology APs apply to all users of our system for security and otherwise responsible use. So when looking at this, it's not a specific use case. This was just to make sure that we are blanket applying the same policies to all technology use in the district, including staff, students, other members on our network.
Supplemental. Will this include principals, vice principals, senior management, and it says it at school functions, so will this apply to district training sessions and school board meetings?
I would consider staff to be a blanket statement involving all staff. I think extracurricular events are definitely, they can live outside of that to some extent, depending on the type of event it is. There are cases where it may be applicable and may not be, such as a learning series for technology use and AI and such. So I think some of that is going to be situational, just like the AP speaks to. It is up to the teacher to decide how to allow personal digital device use in the classroom to support learning, if it works for them or not.
Thank you for your questions. Were there any more questions? And is online still quiet? Okay. Oh, there is. We still have a couple more minutes.
Not about the digital procedure. It was a question in terms of the financial update. I was curious where in the financial update, if anywhere, legal costs would fit in.
I'll turn to our
34.
Page 36.
Cute. So legal costs would be included in the services line item. So it's all rolled up under, you can see the budget line item under services and supplies. The budget is 4.4 million. That would include all contractual services that the district budgets and spends funds towards. So legal would be one of them included in there. I don't have the exact amount. I'd have to go into the details, but that's where we would work for that line item.
That's what I want to know. Thank you very much.
Right, seeing no further hands. It appears that our public question to the board is over. And looking for a trustee to move adjournment. Vice Chair Howe, and seconder, Trustee McConnell-Keene. And all those in favor? Adjournment, that's carried. And we are adjourned at